are Freedom Pharma, and just an update on Hurricane Milton. And you may have watched the last video I did. Basically, we talked about what was coming and what we saw was coming, and how we just survived barely. We don't even know what the results of that are yet. Hurricane Helene, which, as it turns out, now the aftermath of Milton, all of 2 weeks later from Helene, the damage looks like it's less than what we got with Hurricane Helene. And basically the reason for that was the actual water surge was lower. I mean, in our case, we have a townhouse there, and you saw in the last video my car was like a bathtub. Well, now it's a half a bathtub. Instead of full, it was half full. So we got, 2 storms for the price of one. Still have to fix the car if even fixable. But the interesting part is probably why things were less damaging this time was we literally got hit with the eye of the storm. The storm came right through virtually my back door, which was pretty interesting in the fact that, I think, yes, you get a push, but that storm is only moving probably 7 miles an hour. The wind around it is moving 120 miles an hour, but when it hits us at the shore, it's literally moving from south to north, and then it moves further in. All of a sudden, you've got the eye of the storm, calm as can be. And I have, a couple of friends that they literally, put their heads out the door. And actually, in one group in one area where there was a bunch of people who stayed, they all came outside and, at 10:30 at night, and we're talking to each other because the storm had gone from 120 miles an hour to 0. Anyway, they not very long after had to get back into their houses because the rest of the storm comes through, and now you've got 120 mile an hour winds blowing the exact opposite direction, because it's a circulating storm. Anyway, so that was probably why the damage wasn't as bad. In other words, we got hit with north and south winds as opposed to, an onslaught wind. As a matter of fact, what happens in those kind of storms, people to the south of us get huge floods, people to the north of us. As a matter of fact, Tampa Bay again, which happened in the last storm, as a matter of fact, Hurricane Ian, which was a couple of years back, literally the water goes out of Tampa Bay. But a funny story. Okay, now, after all that happened, people wake up the next morning, it's calm, storm has passed over, it's now working its way across the state, and then actually literally exiting off the East Coast. So I had a video I was watching from a guy that I knew, they were, people who own properties there wanted to get back on the key, see what the kind of damages was. And so one of them went very early in the morning, probably 5 o'clock in the morning. It was still dark when they went in. And they went to, there's 2 bridges to get onto Siesta Key. There's a north bridge and there's a south bridge. And they went on the south bridge, and they actually had video of them talking to the, they had, police at the bridge itself. They're not going to let people drive onto the key yet because there's too much debris and, who knows. But they were letting people walk. Matter of fact, if you want to walk in, no problem. So, the police just said, park your car over here. You're more than welcome to walk in on the bridge. Anyway, I was talking to another friend of mine who also has a property there. And he went later than that, in the same day. And but where he was staying was closer to the north bridge. So they have the north bridge and the south bridge. And the north bridge is part of the city of Sarasota, and it's the city government that runs that bridge. The south bridge, which is all of 2 miles south of the north bridge, or 3 miles, or whatever it is run by the municipality. And I know you shouldn't get into politics, but he brought it up to me, and he said, this is really how it works. So you've got Sarasota running the north bridge. Sarasota, the people who are in government in Sarasota are, I would say, like most big cities or cities, more liberal-minded. I'm not even going to put a party associated with it. And then the municipality, 3 miles south, running the south bridge, would be more conservative-minded. Anyway, so, or maybe more independent-minded, might be a better way to put it. So anyway, my buddy wanted to get on because he's got his property that he wanted to check out. So he drives to the north bridge, and gets to the police there, and they said, no, you can't come on. Under no circumstance you come on. And it's the same key, by the way, that's attached to the south bridge. Anyway, so what else could he do? He just took off and he went down to the South Bridge to see what the circumstances were there. Could he get on? And as I mentioned earlier, for the other guy, no problem. You can pull up, park your car over here, you can walk on, no problem. Can't bring your car on, no problem at all. So anyway, he actually phoned me and told me the story as he's walking to his house, which was fine. He knew he couldn't be bringing the car, but was telling me the story of the difference between the North Bridge, the Democrat Bridge, and the South Bridge, the Republican Bridge. I don't know, maybe not. But it was unbelievable how the power part of the North Bridge was so important. He basically just said to me is that the guys at the North Bridge just were absolutely adamant that they were in control and that was all there was to it. South Bridge, it's your house. You want to go take a look at it? You're more than, why shouldn't you? Your place. Anyway, sort of a funny political story in a little teeny area of where there was a storm and where I guess insecure power people need to, ensure their power by rejecting people walking onto their own property versus secure people allowing people to walk onto their own property, just 4 miles apart on the same line. I'm going to be down there in the next couple of days, and I'll have a look at what's really going on as far as the damage and everything is concerned, and so maybe give you one more update when we get back. So, meantime, check out Gut Fix and Gut Fix yourself.